1988. As you can tell, it looks very different from the last time you've seen it on this channel. Um, that's because I actually got all of the rust off of here and then I repainted it in one of the original colors it would have been in. Now, the most expensive colors that you could have gotten for this would have been red for the funnel, red for the wheels, and basically black for everything else except for this part here. And unfortunately, for some reason, the paint is getting on my fingers, and I don't know why that is. Um, I may have to actually end up repainting this thing because I'm not sure what that's all about. Um, hopefully it's nothing bad. But so this thing has been through a lot. This has been through both world wars. It's been through everything else. um, and it probably was actually taken to the Crash at Crush because keep in mind this was built in 1888, and the Crash at Crush actually happened after that. Um, Now this thing actually could have fairly well have been. Of course, you couldn't take the whole set with you. You just take the locomotive because you are going to a place where they're going to do some cool stuff with locomotives, and you would have taken a train to get there. And plus, the tickets for that event weren't that expensive back then, even for back then. So, yeah. And so, what about this engine? What is the details behind it that I know of? Well, for one, it was cast in 1888. That was a long time ago, specifically 137 years ago. So this is 137 years old, and there was still metal under there, all that rust. So that was definitely a trip. I tried my best, and I got as much of the rust as I could off before painting it. Like I said, it is giving me some problems about um, which it isn't now for some reason. About all that black stuff on my hands, but I don't know. Um, so it's a 240. And unfortunately, I don't have the cars for it, not even the tender, but that's fine. That's fine. Really, this thing has been through so much. It was at some point somebody wanted it back in 1888 and then asked their parents to buy it for them. And then they probably would have taken it to the Crash It Crush because they would have been still very much a child at that time. And then they would have taken this back home, and then eventually they would have taken it all around. I presume they stayed relatively in Michigan because that's where I bought this thing at. Because well, I live in Michigan. Anyway, so about this, where did I find it? Well, actually, that's an interesting story. Now, this place is pronounced differently in different, accents and stuff like that. But up here, we call it Grosio. Some people call it Gross Isle, Gross Isle. Um, but the original translation was the first one that I said, and that's usually how people will say that name. Um, I found it at a garage sale on that island, and they only wanted $1 for it, and I said, why not? So I bought it, and I only realized how bad the rust on it was once I got it home. But that didn't matter to me. I immediately put it on the display shelf, and then the next day I made a video about it, which was the original video that you wonderful people, have seen of this engine. And then this is the second video, even though I actually had the entire restoration progress and the painting and all that on video. It all got corrupted, unfortunately, so I can't upload it. Not a little bit of it. Every little second got just completely just gone. Um Now this would have came actually with quite a bit. It would have came with a tender, and then it would have came with a coach set, considering of a combination, a male slash passenger, and then a passenger car, and then a couple of freight cars, I think, and possibly a caboose. I don't know. It was very iffy. about that. No, this would have came in a variety of colors originally. The one that I seen the few of, which I presume would have been the most expensive, was red on the funnel, and then red on the wheels, red up here, and then just black everywhere else. And because that is because, and some of them would have been painted completely black like this because you've got to keep in mind black was the cheapest color that you could buy, and even saving 1 penny back then was, well, I mean, it was the equivalent of saving $1 or $2. And so, the parents would go, "Okay, little Timmy, are you all right with this thing being black?" And more than likely, he'd be all like, "Yes, yes, that's fine." Because you got to keep in mind, you would have been thankful to just have the thing. So, yeah, I mean, I'm still planning on doing what I was original. Oh, I missed a big spot on the wheel right there. I'm gonna have to finish that. Oof. Yes, I'm gonna have to repaint that. But otherwise, I mean, it still rolls, which is amazing. Uh, Now, this thing obviously was left in the woods originally. Of course, you can see that I cleaned out the headlight and the funnel really well. And I cleaned out all that other junk that was in there. And, now, what was that stuff that was in here? Well, that was actually the same stuff that was inside of my Victrola that's just around the corner right there. It was wood wasps that would have did that, and I know because it was the same hard stuff that I had to deal with when I was cleaning out the locks for that thing. Um, anyway, so it was definitely left out in the woods. It was definitely left out in the woods for a very long time, and then somebody came around, found it, and then decided to sell it at a garage sale for $1, which is when I bought it. And but I absolutely love this thing. I really do. It has such an interesting history and story behind it. I just love it. I really, really do. And I bet you've seen this. Yeah, that's been a project of mine for a little while now. And I'm gonna have to explain more about that next time. How do I turn off the video?